The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, a fresh perspective. I'm pretty new to the Zelda series, having only played a few games in the past, but it was pretty evident to me right from the start this was a new direction for the franchise. No longer is the tried and true formula for the past 20 years where you run in a linear story, going through dungeon after dungeon, clearing boss after boss, until you get to the end, where you fight the final boss Ganon. In this one, you don't even have to do the story. Or if you want to do it, you can do it in any order you like. It doesn't really make a difference. You can beat this game in under an hour if you're good enough, and if you know where to go. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing either. It's just a new direction for this franchise. Good on them for trying something new, but there's still things they can improve on. I'm sure you've all seen around the place this game getting 9.5 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, perfect game, best game ever. And while those are thoroughly deserved, because this game really, well, it is really good. I often found myself getting lost just running around doing absolutely nothing because the environment is just so damn beautiful and it's amazing to run around in. You get lost from the main story just by doing side missions or by trying to beat temples. I would have spent maybe 2 whole days just taking a break from the plot because I was running around trying to uncover things on the map that were really cool or looked really nice, or trying to get to a new area but without understanding how to get there. That being said, this game is not without its flaws. I don't understand how the audio works for this game. I mean, half the time it's just not there. When it is there, it's amazing and it really fits whatever scenario you're in. But a lot of the time it's just silence, or NPCs. Sometimes they're voiced, sometimes they're not. It's not really clear when they are and when they're not, or why this has been done that way. Especially during cutscenes. I mean, these characters, they talk. They're major side characters. Why not have them talk in cutscenes instead of using subtitles? That part doesn't make sense to me. A lot of mechanics are new to this game, such as the weapons only having a lifetime of use. Now this isn't a bad thing, it's just a change. And it will fuck you up if you aren't ready for it. Like, you'll get halfway through a boss fight and all your weapons will break and you'll just lose over and over because you have no way to beat the boss. And there's no more just hitting up grass and getting hearts for health. You have to actually cook food from the seemingly endless supply of random inventory items you can find throughout the game. I would have appreciated if cooking had been explained a bit more in the tutorial, but once you work it out, it's very useful and very easy to do. One of my main gripes with this game though is the map. It seems like Nintendo just hired an ex-Ubisoft developer, because every new area you go to, you have to climb a tower. Most of them have challenges at the bottom. And when you get to the top, you have to activate it, and then suddenly all the map is revealed to you. I mean, I felt like I was just playing Assassin's Creed when I was doing this. I'd much prefer going to a new area and having the map update with that general location. But once you find a new specific area, like a town or a ranch, it will update and add that to your map. So you still have to explore. I mean, this is a new game, and it's a new console, and frame drops happen, but it's not really a big deal because they pass pretty quick and they're few and far between. And the controls for this game, they don't make sense because they're backwards to an Xbox controller, which is what I'm used to. So about 85% of the time I died in this game, I reckon it was just because I hit the wrong button, where I was trying to jump instead of swing my weapon. Now, there are so many good things about this game. It just works so well. Like, the combat will be so fluent. You can switch from your bow to your sword to a two-handed weapon, and it just makes sense. Like, you can't use a shield with a two-handed weapon. This is something I worked out in the middle of a boss battle because I kept getting wrecked and I couldn't understand why I wasn't able to block his attacks. My favorite thing about this is the paraglider. You get to just jump in the air and float around Hyrule, looking at the beautiful scenery, exploring. You might see somewhere that you really want to go, and you'll just fly there. And it's amazing. Or, if you don't feel like that and you're at the top of the mountain, you can actually skateboard on your shield, and it handles super well, and it is just so much fun. I really, really enjoyed these things. The puzzles are unique and challenging in the dungeons. I don't feel like they were repeated at all throughout the game, and I was struggling for some of them. And every side quest has its unique feeling, where each NPC that you meet is they have their own story, and you really want to find out what's going on with them. It's just, they've worked through everything in this game so well, except for one thing: the plot. There really isn't a plot with this game. I mean, at the start you explained kind of what happened 10,000 years ago, and that 100 years ago it happened again the exact same way, except this time you didn't win. And now you've got to make sure that you've got to do it right. And that's basically the whole game. I don't want to drop too many major spoilers here, but there's not even a Triforce in this game, and it's a Zelda game. Like, how is that a thing? This really, it really confused me, and I was really upset about that. Or you don't even see Ganon in his human form. You just fight him at the end. He doesn't talk, he doesn't give a reason for his master plan or anything. He's just this evil spirit, and you fight him. That's the whole game. There's just no real plot twist to this. You can figure out the plot in the first hour if you're paying attention, and if you can see where this is going to go. With the development cycle this game had, I can't understand how they didn't add more into this. Or look and think, hey, you know, should we add more? I mean, we've got like 100 hours of side missions and stuff, but the main plot, you can sum it up in like 3 sentences. And it just loses a lot of its traditional Zelda feel. You could pretty much put any characters into this game and it would make sense. But that's not to be too critical, because Nintendo have taken a different direction here. I'm very set with my Zelda games being an extremely good story, which is told throughout a long and epic game. If I could add one thing to this game, it would be a casual difficulty. This game is so hard. It's like playing Dark Souls, not Zelda. You need to work out how all the mechanics work if you're going to get anywhere. The combat, the health, the resistances, the potions, the elixirs, even what type of armor to wear. You need to understand how it all works. Otherwise you're just going to keep getting wrecked over and over and over. That being said, I was left with a salty taste in my mouth when I finished this game. Because if you're like me and you just want to bust out the story once you get to a certain point, because you're so engrossed in it. But with a Zelda game, after you beat the boss, you can't keep playing. You just go back to your save before the final boss chamber. That's it. If I'd known that before, I probably would have kept going with the side quests and uncovering new locations on the map. I hadn't even uncovered the whole map before I went and finished this game, but I really wish I could have. That being said, these are really relatively small things in what is overall an amazing game. I'm sure a lot of you are asking one thing: is it worth buying a Nintendo Switch over? And really, in my opinion, it's not. I mean, it's an amazing game, but I don't feel like any game is worth $500-600, even though that's what I spent on it. I would wait. I would advise everyone else to wait, unless you desperately have to have Zelda, until there's something like Mario Odyssey or Splatoon 2 out, so that you can play more than one thing. Because honestly, I haven't touched my Switch since I finished the game. To close out, I guess, I really love this game. That being said, it's not perfect, but no game really is, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. This has been CHG Rep. You're listening to my Breath of the Wild review. Thank you.